Everybody, this is John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on April the 12th in the year of our Lord 2026, and I've got a lot of great information for you tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and click over here to Murtech on Rumble. This is my Rumble channel. This is the video we're going over tonight, my live stream, episode 1885. Let me click on this, jump in here. Let me pause that, close out my live chat. All right, I want to click the Show More button to expand out the description box. And we have information from Andrew Klavan, Benny Johnson, Rubin Report, and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, I do want to give some shout outs here to Nishan 2000, just started following my channel. JJ Nettles just started following my channel. TD T Drew 81060 just started following my channel. Heartless Lion the Warrior TV just started following my channel. Fireman 0823 just started following my channel. Mini Birds Z just started following my channel. Kim's Coffee Talk just started following my channel. And Olson Lois 1 just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content. All right, let me give you some shout outs here to Debbie BS, who reposted my episode 1884. Fisher C45 gave me a comment on my episode 1884. Debbie BS commented on my extra 667A, 667B, and 667C. So thank you very much for your comments and reposting my video. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I definitely appreciate your support. So let me give this a thumbs up. Boom. There we go. All right. Let's get into this. Andrew Klavan. Now, he always gives a lot of satire and sarcasm in his opening monologue on his weekly episodes. I was hesitant to share this one. I find it maybe a little bit inappropriate, but I'm sure he doesn't. I know he's a Christian. He talks about being a Christian, but this is something that is just kind of offbeat. And I don't know if he's just going after Tucker on this or what, but you let me know what you think in the comments or the chat, okay? So let's go ahead and get going on this.
You know, many people ask me to explain how to be a Christian. Not many people, maybe like 3 or 4. It's hard to count them because they're invisible. But whenever some lost soul begs me to point the way toward the light of God's love, I always take time out of my busy schedule and say to them, of course, that'll be $25. A man's got to eat. There are many misconceptions about the experience of Christian faith. Even an honest seeker can lose his way and begin to believe that Christianity is just a matter of establishing a relationship with a loving God who sacrificed his own son to win forgiveness for his sinful creation and wants nothing more from you but that you turn from your destructive desires and live into his image to find peace and joy and eternal life. That's absurd. It's difficult and you miss all the fun. Instead, you must turn your eyes to the Lord's eternal dwelling place, social media. There, you'll find to your delight that the moment you accept Christ into your heart, you instantly receive the power to tell other people that they're doing it wrong. When Jesus said, "Judge not, lest you be judged," he didn't mean judge not, lest you be judged. He meant, hey, tell that stupid schmuck over there I am sending him to hell if he doesn't shut his fat face right now. Of course, those of you who are only just starting on your Christian journey might wonder, why did our Savior say the exact opposite of what he meant? But as you grow in social media faith, you'll understand it's because our blessed Lord was a Jew, and you just can't trust those people. Also, when you become a Christian, you'll develop the ability to see things no one else can see, almost as if you were a prophet or a schizophrenic or a CNN anchorwoman. To explore this ability, social media Christian Tucker Carlson recently interviewed an exorcist, Father Brendan Opegi. Here's a brief portion of the transcript. Father O. In order to cast out demons, you must first be able to discern the presence of evil. Tucker, your mother has sex with animals in hell. Look, my head spins 360 degrees. Fall down and worship me. Father O, you must learn to look for small, subtle signs of demonic influence. Tucker, behold, I levitate and spider walk across the ceiling. I am Legion. Abandon the Holy One and despair. Father, Father O, next, you must learn to speak Syriac. Well, the full interview is available online, but you get the idea. But religion isn't all fun and games. Sometimes you have to make an effort. For instance, to be a good Christian, it's essential that you marshal your willpower to overcome your sense of humor. Knowing Christ can make your heart light with celestial joy and cause you to laugh even amidst the hapless corruption of a fallen world. You don't want that. Non-Christians might see it and start to join in. Then we'd have to live with them forever in heaven. And I hate those people. Fortunately, once you've stripped yourself of any propensity for laughter, all self-awareness will also melt away, and you'll at last be prepared for the pious act of pretending to believe absolute nonsense in the name of God. For example, when the Bible says, do not mistreat the immigrant among you, you can pretend that means allow 20 million illegal crapheads to exploit your tolerance, sack your coffers, and rape and murder your women. Or you can pretend that when Jesus says, love your neighbor, he means sexually mutilate your children so they can delight in being the gender of their choice, right up until the moment they commit suicide. And okay, pretending to believe such things may not win sinners eternal life, but it could get professors tenure, which is almost the same thing. Now, some of you may be asking yourself, gee, where in the Bible does it say Christ's titanic liberating sacrifice is supposed to turn us into humorless, pious scolds who pretend to believe complete nonsense? But it's right there in John 11, verse 35, where it says, Jesus wept. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show. Be a man, us, or whether it's
This episode,
or Pavlo Days. The film has been released around called Be a Great Solution. And then last week I had this great idea of the head that we revoke moron citizenship instead of worrying about native native citizenship. We revoke people for being morons. The minute they open their mouths and whatever they say, it's all the fault of the Jews, or there's no moonshot or anything like that. The ICE just shows up, picks them up under the arm, and sends them to Botswana or some other made-up country. It's a great idea, but nobody listens. So since nobody listens, let's get directly to today's episode, what winning looks like. If you are looking for a gift that guarantees life, not this fuck by and art, anyone who gift this, Chapter 1, War in an Info Crisis. This is what we're experiencing. I had a lot of visitors over the holiday, over Easter, and I was talking to a lot of people, most of them in somewhere in politics or the journalism business or something like that. And three separate people, without my saying anything, brought up the death of Robert Mueller and the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife by their son, and Trump's reaction to those. If you remember when Mueller died, Mueller was the guy who hounded him over the Russia hoax and knew that it was a hoax, but investigated him for 2 years anyway. And Trump said, I'm glad he's dead. And when Rob Reiner and his wife were murdered by their son, possibly, one of the most tragic things that can happen to a person, to have his own child turn on him and kill him. Just an awful, awful story. And it's not something anybody deserves just because he's slightly annoying, as Rob Reiner was. Trump said horrible things about Rob Reiner, again, indicating that he didn't care. And the reason this came up is because Trump's, as I've often said, like all of us, Trump's best character traits and his worst character traits are the same character trait. We love him because he's belligerent enough to break the bonds of restriction and cancellation and fear that the left had slowly wound around our country like a cocoon, so nobody was brave enough to to face them down for fear of being called racist or being canceled, which I think is still a problem in Congress. But Trump just busted that because he had the guts and the belligerence and the indifference to manners that made him, on the one hand, kind of a bully and a bore at times, but on the other hand, let him say the things that needed to be said. But when he says things like that, when he says things that can't be forgiven, that can't be excused, that are just rude and cruel, and the kind of thing that a civilized person simply does not say, and even doesn't think, I can't ever remember celebrating somebody's death. I think death is like, over the top. It's something that we should just be respectful about. But when he does it, it casts doubt on the other things that he says that are 3D chess or are facing down a power that needs to be shattered, like the blob or the left's media. When he does that, they deserve it and they need to hear it, and we need to have it done so that other people can acquire some guts going down the road, which I'm not even sure has happened yet, but hopefully it has. It certainly has to Marco Rubio. I think it has to J.D. Vance, and those are things that are really important. So this week, I'm sure you all know, before this ceasefire started, there was an 8:00 deadline, and Trump said a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back. He was talking about the fact that he was going to bomb bridges and other infrastructure, electric plants. And he says, I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. Now, most of us, the idea that he was going to drop some kind of nuke on Iran and kill all the people there, I don't think that occurred to anybody. But you remember when Trump said that there was going to be a bloodbath in the auto industry. Remember the 2 days? Listen, he was going to murder people, presumably in the auto industry, if he weren't elected. It's just insane, the coverage on him. And so, of course, we had to hear from this. Now, when asked about this, the God of War, Pete Hegseth, told us what Trump meant. Here's that cut.
I see only what I have come to destroy.
Now, I'm sorry, the wrong God of War. That's Kratos from the other God of War. This is Pete Hegseth, cut 3.
We had a target set locked and loaded of infrastructure, bridges, power plants. Remember, this is a terror regime. The military regime used all of these things for dual use to fund their military, to fund their terror campaigns. We had a lot of legitimate targets. They knew exactly the scope of what we were capable of. We hit some military targets on Karg, which is a bit of a signal. They can't defend it. And so Iran ultimately understood their ability, their future to produce, to generate power, to fuel their terrorist regime was in our hands.
So in other words, when Trump said he was going to destroy their civilization, he was talking about the fact that he could hit anything they want. They knew what he was going to hit. They were telling them, we are going to hit, this plant and that plant and parts of Karg Island. You can't defend Karg Island. You probably can't defend anything. They have been destroyed. But of course, the press had to go insane. And so they pretended it was going to be a war crime and genocide and all this. It was absolute nonsense. Here is Carolyn Levitt answering stupid questions from the press.
How can the president claim that America can ever have the moral high ground if he's threatening to destroy civilizations and not casting wars as fights against other governments?
Andrew, I think you should take a look at the actions of this president over the course of the past 6 weeks and the actions of our brave men and women in our United States military who have taken out essentially taken out the military of a rogue Islamic regime that has chanted death to America for 47 years, that has killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers over the course of the last 5 decades. The president absolutely has the moral high ground over the Iranian terrorist regime, and for you to even suggest otherwise is frankly insulting.
So we're talking about the information crisis that we're in, where it's really, really hard to know who is telling the truth. Because on the one hand, we have a press that is 100%, just approximately 100% corrupt. They have been selling the fact that this war is a quagmire, that we're losing it, that it's terrible, all the time, constantly. Then we have a rebel media, social media, that is completely unpoliced, and it has an incentive of clickbait. So there's an incentive for people to tell you what you want to hear, or what incites your anger, or what incites other people's anger and gets them publicity. That is the incentive that makes them say things. So we don't always know that they are telling the truth. And of course, they use the fact that the left is lying all the time, that the mainstream media is lying all the time. They live use that to suggest that therefore they know something, which oftentimes they don't. The only person you can trust is me because I'm on a mission from God. So I'm going to tell you what I think no matter what. And also I have only one client, which is the United States of America. That's the only thing I actually care about. So at the same time, Trump, who very often says exactly what he's thinking, he's an amazingly transparent president, also has that mouth on him where he'll say something awful that makes you doubt whether he's actually in control of what he's saying. Is he playing 3D chess or is he just blabbing? The hyperbole sometimes makes it hard to trust him and things like that. I think when this ceasefire began, it's a 2-week ceasefire during which they're going to negotiate theoretically in Islamabad, overseen by the Pakistanis. They're going to have a talks between Iran and the U.S. And, Trump said this is a total and complete victory. Well, obviously, it's not. It may not even be a ceasefire. I mean, we don't know what it's going to be. Once again, though, I think when we step back, so what has happened? Where are we and where are we going to go? So let's talk about where are we first. I think once again, God of War, Pete Hegseth, gave a good description of what has been accomplished.
I see only what I have come to destroy.
Oh, that's Kratos. I think they're doing this on purpose now. I'm not sure. Here is the real God of War.
Together with our Israeli partners, America's military achieved every single objective on plan, on schedule, exactly as laid out from day one. Iran's Navy is at the bottom of the sea, whether it's the Soleimani class, their frigate class, their prized drone aircraft carriers, submarines, mine layers, sunk. Iran's Air Force has been wiped out. Iran no longer has an air defense, any sort of a comprehensive air defense system. We own their skies.
So, he goes on. It's a long speech where he talks for about 15 minutes about all the things that have been destroyed. The defenses have been destroyed. Their plants have been destroyed. Their nuclear stuff is buried underground. It's going to take them years to get back going. I'm not even sure there's a government left in Iran. I mean, I don't even know who they're talking to. And I think this is really a kind of an interesting question because there also is a possibility that Trump is just playing the different factions off each other. Some of them may want to make peace. Some of them may not want to make peace. And he's trying to get them to fight with each other. That would be kind of an interesting scenario. We just don't really have the whole story. And of course, because it's the future, we don't know what is going to happen. And I was talking, did a friendly fire, and I was saying this to Walsh, you can make a living reacting to the bad news sources that we have, to the New York Times lies and the, NBC News lies and all the lies coming from the left, the Wall Street Journal, in the Wall Street Journal, the op-ed page is quite good, but the rest of the paper is very left-wing. And so they said, well, Trump backed down. I mean, he backed down. He wanted a ceasefire. He got a ceasefire. That's pretty obvious. And even if it's not a ceasefire, it probably gives him a chance to see if we can now move into a place where he can get the things he's done what he needed to do. We didn't really expect the regime change. We didn't need it. But just keep remembering this. Keep thinking about this. So I don't want to react to commenters. I don't want to just say, oh, this commenter is wrong. Matt on the friendly fire was complaining about those people who attack you if you raise questions about the war. And that is definitely happening. And it is often one of the big Jewish commentators who will call Matt terrible names if Matt says, I would rather Trump were paying attention to the border, to deporting people, which is a citizen's choice. The guy's a voter. He's a commenter. That's what he would rather Trump were paying attention to. I understand. Trump is never paying attention to anything with a lot of focus. So this is what he's doing at the moment. But it's true. There are people who attack you if you criticize the war or think we should end it or think we should end it before Israel thinks we should end it because Israel's still fighting with Hezbollah in Lebanon. They're throwing missiles at them so they can't not fight back. So it's also true on the press that everything that Trump does is wrong. Everything is a failure. Nothing can happen. And when it turns out that it's a success, as it does again and again and again, it simply disappears from the news. So let's remember this, okay? Let's remember in Gaza, Trump finally unleashed the Israelis to stop the genocidal SOBs funded by Iran, who had broken into their country, raped and killed 1,200 people. I mean, just an absolute atrocity, one of the worst since the Holocaust against the Jews. The Israelis had every right to go into Gaza and kick ass, and Trump finally, after Biden held them back, Trump finally let them go. And then, do you remember the ceasefire there? Oh, it was going to fall apart. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, this is no good. It's not going to happen. And then suddenly, out of the news. You don't hear a word about it anymore. He goes in and he bombs the Iranian power plant, the nuclear plants, and that's going to be a disaster. Remember Tucker Carlson clutching his heart because there were going to be thousands of American deaths, and it was nothing. It was just we came, we saw, we killed, we were gone. It was absolutely great. Remember Venezuela? He went in and took out Maduro, but you didn't get regime change. Why didn't you? They were trying to entice him into a quagmire in South America, and he says, "No, we don't need a regime change. They can have any regime they want as long as they work with us and stop selling their oil to the Chinese," which is basically what, a lot of, like I said before, there were a lot of suspiciously yellow people running out of Venezuela when we went in to do that. And so Trump has been right again and again and again on foreign policy, especially. What are the odds? What are the odds that all of the naysayers, all the black pillars, all the both on the left, the people who think everything Trump does is wrong, and on the right, the people who think anything that makes the Jews happy must be wrong, the Groypers. What are the chances that these people have their heads stuck firmly up their backsides and Trump has got it right again? I think the odds are pretty good. I think the odds are pretty good. We don't know what the ceasefire is going to look like. We don't know if it will be a ceasefire. We don't know what the reaction will be. The big question is, can they open the Strait of Hormuz? Because the Iranians have been destroyed. They keep misusing the word decimated, which means killing every 10th person, but they keep using it. But it's been absolutely devastated. It's been, they've been wiped off the face of the map. The only power they have is to take mines and put them in the Strait of Hormuz and hold up the oil shipments out of there. And I don't know how long they can do that, because where are they going to get their money? They're saying now we'll let a few ships in. They're hedging. At some point, Trump is going to lose his temper. 2 weeks will be up. He knows that the Iranians like to stall. And I think, I think he'll go back and do what he has to do, or he'll arrange for other people to do it, because we now, things are better now than they were before. I've heard people say, this is another thing I keep hearing. The Iranians will be much stronger. What are they talking about? What are they going to do? Beat our military to death with a crutch? What the hell do they mean they're stronger? They're absolutely, in rubble. They're all their defenses are in rubble. Their leadership is dead. The world is a better place now than it was 6 weeks ago. I think we can say that. The scene in the Middle East, I think we can say with absolute confidence, is better now. An oppressive tyrant has been weakened. They can celebrate and put out pictures of Trump on his knees, waving a white flag, do anything they want. It's like Baghdad Bob. They can put out all that propaganda, but it is going to take years before they're back on track. And in that time, a lot can happen. And yes, the Straits of Hormuz is going to be an issue of contention, but it doesn't have to be a source of more war. It's very possible that some of our allies in the Middle East, the UAE, which is a quite civilized country, a very impressive country, they've been saying that their main ally is the United States of America. That is pretty cool when somebody is saying that. A lot of these things, because of what Trump has done and because he used the sinister error that Obama made of strengthening Iran to bring everybody else together with the Israelis, saying we'd rather be with the Israelis than the Americans than with Iran, who keep killing people. Now there's this chance that new coalitions can be formed, and the people in the Middle East, God love them, can move into the 21st century and basically start to trade with the world without being, beset by these absolute extremists who make everything miserable.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. I actually went a little long on this, but what he was saying there was great stuff. Now, that monologue of his, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments or the chat. I thought that was just a little bit weird. Let me click on the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Andrew Klavan. I'm sharing his information. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here. Really like the Trump doesn't pretend to moan. He doesn't celebrate, he just doesn't. Yep, that's right. That's right. All right. Thank you, WBS, for that input. Let's see what Benny Johnson has to say about Eric Swalwell hit with horrifying sexual assault scandal. Staff quits, Dems disavow, career over. All right, let's check it out. Now, this is weird. One
I
of his
just don't know
memes.
why families don't like our anti-family branding. Gosh, have you tried being pro-family again? Over a long enough period of time, all wounds heal, things tend to correct. Order is reestablished in the universe. Unless, of course, you're Disney stock. If that's the case, then just collapse is what's going to happen to you. Look at this year to date. Yikes for Disney. Holy moly. You can see a total and complete collapse over the last 5 years. A nightmare for the House of Mouse. What happened here exactly in 2021? Oh, yeah. Democrats and the people who run Disney, woke libtards, decided they were going to use the company for political purposes and to push political messages, and that the family-friendly entertainment company was going to become a propaganda arm of the Democrat Party, and their stock has never recovered since. They're trying desperately, however, to fix that and get you to forget that they ever had gay days at Disney. It's on pause for 2026. Yeah. Bob Iger has stepped down. He's out. By the way, the person who ran the Disney parks is in. Bob Iger's time at Disney brought us, of course, Black Little Mermaid and race-swapped Snow Woke and all manner of propaganda like the Pixar bomb after Pixar bomb after Pixar bomb after Pixar bomb. Elio being one of the latest ones. The new head of Pixar says that Pixar is cutting all alphabet propaganda because we're making a movie, not hundreds of millions of dollars of therapy. Genius. Just one of the absolute all-time best quotes I've ever heard any movie executive give. Go watch the next Pixar movie. It's because of this and this. Look at this. Here we go. They're actually casting white people to play white characters again at Disney. In case you're wondering how bad things have truly gotten. That's how bad. And they're making family-friendly advertisements again. This is an ad that went thermonuclear viral for Disney's cruise line. It includes a father walking his son about the cruise ship in order to get him to fall asleep. It's not long, and I think you'll enjoy it. Here you go.
You're not sleepy, are you? We're gonna go for a walk.
Dad, can we go for the walk?
Getting ready for the pool? Nah, I'm just gonna chill here. Is that okay? Yep. Hey, Dad. We couldn't sleep.
Imagine what this would look like if Disney had just stuck with doing that. Disney inherited the most powerful thing that you could possibly have on this earth when it comes to providing memories for parents and children. And that's all that parents want with their children. And Disney had that built in. The parks, the entertainment, the movies, it was all there. And they just decided to because they didn't build that, the people who inherited it, who were unworthy of that empire, destroyed it. And a lot of them aren't parents anyway. They're not good parents if they are. And so they've used Disney and they've desecrated it. People are really thrilled to see this Disney turnabout here. Disney Cruise Line debuts a new ad titled Midnight Magic. The spot followed a father and son sharing a quiet tradition on a Disney ship. And the culture shift is real. Disney cruise ship ad aimed at dads is fantastic. That's right. I'm a father of 4 children, and this hits you. It really does. Starting to hate being a dad because of how I watch and how much I cry now. Great advertisement here by Disney. Get the tissues ready. The theme from Up is the weapon of mass destruction and must be highly regulated. Put whoever was in charge of this in charge of Disney. That's right. This is like the point. This would be the point of a good Disney. This is what Disney had going for it. This is the purpose of Disney. Disney is reading the room. Parenthood is a beautiful gift. The ad with a heterosexual white male who isn't the butt of all jokes, with his white family and his beautiful white children being a good dad. Cultural shift is happening and it's real and it's great. If you have kids, you will feel this. Holy crap. It's not a mixed race family. Is it dusty in here? That's right. Disney Cruise Line has been waiting all of its life to make this advertisement. It's finally time. If you need me, I'm still crying. I'm crying, actually. Disney launching a new ad where dad and his son share a nighttime walk on a cruise ship across an entire lifetime. Every parent needs to hear this. Moments feel small until they're gone. Put down the phone, spend some time. This is the only thing that they'll remember. You know, if we can win this culture war, we can win it all.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Let me click the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Benny Johnson. I'm sharing his information. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here and see what Rubin Report has to say. And I found this to be a very interesting video. Let me jump into this. Let's go ahead and get this started.
If America's the great Satan, why do you send your offspring and loved ones here?
There was an interesting domestic story attached to all this.
Okay, now, I share Officer Tatum's channel. I share Dinesh D'Souza's channel, and I share Dave Rubin's channel, Rubin Report. And, I've mentioned this before, but these are all separate channels. I really like it when these channels get together, the people that produce these channels get together. It kind of adds credence or a little bit of solidness to the fact that I'm sharing this information, where they share out the truth when these people get together. It kind of confirms that what I'm sharing, the information I'm sharing, is good information. So I'm going to go ahead and back this up here to the beginning and then let you listen without my babbling.
If America's the great Satan, why do you send your offspring and loved ones here?
There was an interesting domestic story attached to all this that I didn't touch on earlier in the week, but let me read this from Colin Rugg on X. The niece and grandniece of slain Iranian general Qasem Soleimani were reportedly living lavish lifestyles in Los Angeles before being arrested by ICE. Hamideh Soleimanov Shar, the niece, had allegedly celebrated the Iranian attacks on U.S. soldiers. While living in the United States, she promoted Iranian regime propaganda, celebrated attacks against American soldiers and military facilities in the Middle East, praised the new Supreme Iranian leader, denounced America's great Satan, and voiced her unflinching support for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, a designated terrorist organization, the State Department said. Ashar 47 was granted asylum in 2019 and received a green card from the Biden administration in 21. The grandniece of Soleimani, Sarinazat Hosseini, 25, entered the U.S. in 2015 on a student visa and later became a green card holder. Her now deleted Instagram showed her clubbing in Miami, spending time in Alaska, and partying in Las Vegas, according to the New York Post. Guys, look, I don't think anyone's guilty of their father's sins or their great uncle's sins or anything else. The irony, I mean, there's a couple layers here. Brandon, you were earlier talking about all these people that hate America but never leave. I mean, right, there's that. But then the irony of, this girl wandering around in bikinis and going to beaches and doing all her stuff on Instagram while the women in Iran are quite literally fighting so that they can rip off the burqa.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely asinine that these people, pull these stunts, right? We see the same thing in Mexico. People are running around with the Mexican flag. Mexican is the greatest country, but they don't want to live in Mexico. They want nothing to do with Mexico. And the funny thing is that none of this stuff in America that we are able to exercise or live through came for free. Somebody had to die for this stuff, right? And we had soldiers and men and women that have died in war to make sure that we're safe and we have all these luxuries. These people don't come from countries that sacrificed anything for America, but they want to live and get all the benefits of being in America. And I think Marco Rubio is taking some action in this area, but they need to leave this country. Especially people like Ilhan Omar, these people come over here from these trash countries seeking asylum and wanting a better place, and then they get here and begin to be ungrateful. Like it's asinine to me, and I hope that we begin to take action against people who are not lawfully able to stay in this country if we can get them out of here if they're disrespecting America.
Well, finally, last week, JD went on the record and said that we know that Ilhan has married her brother, so they might finally get somewhere on that. Dinesh, let me throw to this video. This is Dr. Masa Tarani. She's an Iranian woman, and watch her take on these ridiculous people that come here and do this type of thing.
This is a prime example of the hypocrisy of the double standard of the Islamic regime. If America is the great Satan, why do you send your offspring and loved ones here? A few years ago, Mahsa Amini, who was that young Persian woman who was detained by the regime's police and was beaten to death because a couple of strands of her hair were showing. And then yet you have the same regime officials' children here enjoying what we have in the U.S., our free dress code, our amazing academic institutions, our basic human rights that their counterparts back in Iran unfortunately can't enjoy. And what's really concerning to me, John, is that isn't this a national security threat when you have these regime affiliates coming into close contact with our laboratories, our research facilities here, our developing technologies? So I think the Secretary of State is doing a great job honing in on these people.
Dinesh, so Rubio's working on a couple of these, and we know there's other versions. It's not just people from Iran, but do you think the administration, especially before the midterms, will have the fortitude to really start expelling enough people? Because there are probably tens of thousands, if not more, of these types of people.
I think politically it would be a big winner, because I think if there's anything that's keeping our base somewhat lethargic, it is the idea that the prosecutions of high-level Democrats and mass deportations, particularly of really bad guys, has not happened at the scale that was expected. So yes, they definitely need to ramp it up. Look, when I see this kind of stuff going on, to me, it's a very familiar mindset. It's not just a hypocrisy of people who want to live free in the United States while they wouldn't be free in Iran. It's just people who believe on the left that normal standards don't apply to them. Think of Chavistas who talk about socialism but go to five-star restaurants. Think about the Politburo in Russia, where they had beautiful dachas and second places and drivers. And so the same thing is going on here. These are people are like, of course, yeah, the hijab is for the poor people who follow the law, but I'm one of the leaders of the regime. I'm not going to be held to those kinds of standards. I can live however I want. So this kind of mentality, which, by the way, we see on the left in this country too, is, I think, part of this global phenomenon of elites who think it's one set of rules for the peasants and it's another set for the rest of us.
All right, good information. Good information there, and it's I can't disagree with what they're saying, about these people. Unbelievable. Okay, let me click the Rumble link and show you this video does come from the Rubin Report. I'm following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Alrighty then, let's jump back here and see what Wendy Bell has to say. She's here on Sunday doing Weekends with Wendy, so I'm sure she's got some great information. Let's take a listen. Let me get it up here.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? I'm a little nervous, I have to say. Ryan's running the Knoxville Marathon right now. And like a horrible mom, I forgot that it was today until he called me yesterday. He's like, Mom, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I'm like, you caught me at bad times. I was walking Murphy. We were doing other things. I didn't have my phone. He's like, I'm running a marathon tomorrow. I'm like, oh my God. I'm so sorry. That's huge, right? That's huge. I couldn't probably run my way to go watch it, let alone run in it.
I
right?
ran
Mama J4, thanks.
I ran a 5K and I got passed by a lady with ski poles. So I can't really criticize anyone.
That was the pre-Trump dance. She was like,
no,
still
no,
being
it was a handicapped lady in better shape than me, and yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. I'm going to ask you guys, how cooked is Eric Swalwell? It's so, you know what? It's so awful because you can't, I can't be snarky because there's actual victims involved in him being a dirtbag. But I think it's hilarious that now he's alleging that he's part of there's some Democrat operation to remove him, and we're like, you don't say.
To get
really?
Katie Porter in.
Can't wait for Katie Porter.
Who has her own issues.
Who's like, get out of my effing shot.
Threw like boiling potatoes at her husband.
And then she was like, okay, I should probably be a little nicer to my staff. Like, that's called psychological psychopath nightmare. Yeah. So did you see the CNN interview? It's awful. It's just, it's awful what this woman says. And then I'm reading this one New York Post story about this victim who said that she was raped by him, and she woke up and she was bleeding and she was injured, and how she years later kept running into him and having encounters with him. I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, if you go to a bar and a guy roofies your drink and you wake up in his room the next day and you've clearly been raped, why would you ever be anywhere around him again? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. It just doesn't compute to me.
I don't understand roofing a girl's drink.
And then she's like, I remember going into the bathroom wherever they were, and then that's it. And it's like, what do you do with a sack of potatoes woman who's not with it to get her out of a bar and get her up into your place? How do you do that? That's so gross. He's so gross. And they're like, you shouldn't run for governor. I'm like, he should be arrested. He should be tried. What? I don't care about the governor spots, right? And then Adam Schiff coming out with this total wishy-washy, doesn't even say his name. It's like, oh, you want us to say the names of people who you say cops kill. But when it comes to an alleged molester, rapist, scumbag, and I'll say alleged because it's the right thing to do, then you're not going to say his name. It's like, well, where's all the Me Too people? Where's Winona Judd? Where are you, sweetie pie? Where's Jane Fonda? Jane, honey, where'd you go, baby? How about
you said on Friday when the
Reese Witherspoon? Where are you? Where's Gloria Allred?
Yes, thank you.
Where's she? Where are all the people who are like, no.
Harry Sisson came out and did a video. Who also has had he's that left-wing influencer. It also had problems with like women, like trying to get women online. And yeah, he's had issues too. And he came out and said that, oh, well, Democrats do the right thing. We're calling for Eric Swalwell to step down because we're not about that. I'm like, right. And Jeffrey's coming out and saying he should get out of the race, but not Congress.
Right. Well, that's a bridge too far.
If you're getting out of a race.
Look, I know it was rape, but it was once, and he said he knew it was probably a lapse of judgment.
And he'll never do it again.
I swear I'll never do it again. And I apologize to my wife for being a scheming scumbag and brave.
He should have just said, he should have just played the old company line of, I did not have sexual intercourse with that woman. And
I did not
what's
have
the definition of
relations.
it?
It depends on what your definition of rape is.
Yeah. Depends on what you mean by roofied a drink.
Yeah. Can you spell roofie? Can you use that in a sentence? I don't understand. And you know what is so hard is like so many of these stories are incomprehensible, that there was an empire of sexual trafficking with Jeffrey Epstein, and that he's probably not even the worst offender. I can't, is Jolene here? Oh, there she is. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around that. And then you've got No Deal. Everybody's like, this is JD Vance's time to shine, to be the heir apparent. I'm like, is it really, or is it time for us to end a chapter of world terror for our children? I'm like, I'm not worried about JD Vance and his performance. I'm not looking at him going, is he presidential? He's the vice president, right? Like, this isn't like an audition. This is about world peace. It's supposed to be world peace. And they're like, well, it's a big day for JD Vance. I'm like, it's a big day for all of them. And poor Jared Kushner, he never gets any credit, does he? He's probably like instrumental in all of this stuff. And he's just sort of like this like, tossed aside little guy. I don't know, whatever. Did anybody expect Iran to actually be like, okay, you got us. We won't make nuclear weapons anymore, right? No.
We'll
and then there's China.
People.
Well, what was that thing that you sent me that somebody had said, Grok, is this real? Is there a way to put that up on the screen? This is like a kick in the nuts on a Sunday.
I first said a thing saying Iran has just been nominated to chair the UN Committee for the Protection of Women's Rights, Human Rights, and Prevention of Terrorism. And then call it up.
That's like Jeffrey Dahmer being a part of PETA, right? It's like he's our new spokesperson. If you're going to chop off an animal's head and put it on a steak, you probably want to be like Jeffrey Dahmer. Makes no sense unless it's all not supposed to make sense. And this Alex Jones thing, really? Okay, all right, whatever.
Hold on a second, I got that.
So this thing. So we're gonna also play coming up in a little bit. But Brock has it loaded here down below. A clip of Alex Jones on his show. It had to be yesterday or the day before. Where he basically he draws his line in the sand. Donald Trump, you better leave me alone. If not, I'm gonna unleash what I know about you. And I'm like, unleash it anyway. Yeah.
So this is what Wendy was talking about, Iran being named the chair of protecting women's rights and terrorism. And someone asked Grok, is this true? Let's see if I can make this bigger. Yeah. Yes, essentially it is true.
On October 9th, or on April 9th, the UN Economic nominated this, the Body Shapes UN Policy on Women's Rights, nominated Iran. You know what? Iran is super open-minded. it's a very inclusive community where you can have acid thrown on you. You can be murdered by your husband, father, brother, right? And if you're a trans or whatever,
throw you off the building.
it's a one. You can't make this stuff up.
It's a
Crowder
special
with
kind of
Crowder. Oh, what brand of cigar are you smoking, Brock? Oliva. Yeah, Darius knew right away. So the big headline, obviously, no. Wait a minute. Can I ask you a question before we skip off of Eric Swalwell? So the Manhattan DA's office is investigating. What? Because these things happened in New York, or what? Do you understand why that is? I don't understand why that is.
I don't get why it is. Probably because it's Democrat stronghold.
Huh. Well, this is even bigger. So they open up a phone line, literally that's exclusive to, were you also fiddled by Eric Swalwell? Like, that's not 867-5309. That's like 1-800 you're cooked. That's gonna be nighty night. Good luck, Katie Porter. How are the Democrats gonna put lipstick on that pig? No. She's really fabulous. She's a great leader. She's got perfect temperament for politics. And then there's Steve Hilton. He's driving in a car. He's obviously, I think, the front runner now. And all I could see is that he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. So I'm like, all the people are going to come out, oh, we want a governor who doesn't understand safety. Be like, or one who allegedly rapes chicks. I mean, I don't know. What do we want?
It's convoluted. How do you choose? A guy who doesn't want safety, or yeah.
Okay, so seriously, if Donald Trump is a time traveler, then he has obviously been places and he's come back to, et cetera, et cetera. Is that why I try to read his Truth Social posts through the lens of somebody who's trying to tell you about what's going on and somebody who knows what happens next. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of tells you everything that's happening. Like, I might bomb them out of into obliteration, or I might not. We'll see, right? I think it's kind of interesting when I look at it like that.
We have a mutual friend that's a progressive, and he put a thing out yesterday.
Oh no!
Saying that he can't believe Trump's using Melania. That Melania, she's coming out talking about the Epstein files because she's going to leave him, and he's trying to smokescreen from his involvement in Epstein in Iran, because Melania came out and basically said, "Hey, put it on. I had nothing to do with it. Put it on display and let people put it on record." Is basically all she's asking. And now the Democrats are coming out and saying, "Well, we have to protect them." So
I got lost in all of that. I don't know. There's still literally no news. It's so bizarre. Like Swalwell, okay, fine, whatever. The no deal. I don't think people. I'm not. All right. Did you wake up and go, "Oh my God, I thought this was it"? No, I mean, like that. No.
Well, apparently, Saudi Arabia has gone around the Strait of Hormuz and is still pumping oil and getting it out. So I don't know. I would assume Trump already knew they had that capability. So, and then there's a rabbit hole of, I told you this rabbit hole yesterday.
Go ahead.
Iran, that Israel has been running things under Iran in like all these tunnels and underground world, that bombing Iran is really taking care of the Israel mafia, essentially, of doing all their underground crap under Iran.
So, tinfoil, then Trump and this dismantling of the deep state and this liberal world order, that Israel is going to be part of it as well, just later.
Yes, but it's going after the Netanyahus of the Jewish world, because a lot of people don't think they're really Jewish. Like, you have the Bible that says save Israel for last. Well, they're saying that Bibi Netanyahu is deep state, is part of that huge cabal. So
I'm not. Yeah.
Once again,
I'm as surprised by that as Eric Swalwell. What?
Yes. Yes.
It's preposterous. Preposterous, isn't it? All right, you have to play. I need to know what's going on. And it's unfortunate because I really don't need to know what's going on because it's such a stupid time suck of nothingness. Like all these people firing back at Trump. Here's what I want to say to all of them. And this is what's so frustrating, particularly if you have multiple children and you've got a spread of it like I do. It's like my kids never learn how to outfox each other. Like there's a great way to get at somebody without saying a word. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You just don't have to respond, because when you don't respond, it starves the person who's poking you to death. And they're like trying to get a rise out of you, right? None of my kids have been able to do that. Any of these people who don't take the bait and don't fire back, that's the smartest person standing. But here's like Alex Jones is like, oh yeah, I'm going to come after you and I'm going to take you down. And I'm like, yo, what's going on here? It's a little deeper than I thought.
Wild.
Yeah. So we're gonna play it for you guys, and I'm interested in what you guys think. Okay.
I've been coming after you. If you think that I'm trying to get clicks by attacking you so the Democrats that don't buy anything from me and don't like me want to put me in jail, if you think I've been on your ass, say one more thing. One more thing out of your mouth. And Laura Loomer, send him this. Okay? One more thing. When I've gone through hell back in your ass because you were the lesser of two evils, then I'm going to show you how the cow ate the cabbage. Do one more thing.
I'm going to show you how the cow ate the cabbage, which is pretty interesting. One more thing. You're the lesser of two evils. Really? So seriously, that's what he thinks? He thinks Trump is the lesser of two evils. That's a wild thing to say. That's a wild thing to say. Okay, continue.
You should be kissing my ass. But instead, you shit all over me and rub it in. Okay. I'm a Christian, but I ain't Christ-like, okay? And I hate the Democrats, I hate the left, I hate the WF, I hate the globalists so much that I've sat here and put up with crap, you not defending me, you letting Todd Blanche kill the investigations of what the DOJ and CIA did to me and my family. And I just said, high road, don't really talk about it. I'll take it for the greater good. But there's only so far that I can take it. Go ahead, say one more thing about me. Go ahead and attack me one more time. And you'll find out.
Stop it.
What is it with this guy? You know, I don't understand. He's, what? What's he going to do? Unfreaking believable. You know, I knew sometimes he talks crazy, but I've never heard him talk this freaking crazy. Wow.
Wow, a little FAFO. So he brings up Todd Blanche. And we've heard from friends of ours who are connected that this isn't a great guy. This isn't a good guy. This isn't a trustworthy guy. And I was like, really? I was hopeful for that. Like, I love Ed Martin, right? I think Ed Martin has been phenomenal, but my friend was like, not Todd Blanche. So I don't know. Brock, do you have any?
No, I don't understand where this is coming from. That you're watching someone self-implode.
The
I
reason
agree.
why, here's what my thing is. The reason why Trump put out those truths about obliterating this and civilization will end, he's not sending that as a message to you. He's sending that as a message to Iran, right? And then all of these people here in America were like, oh my God. And it's like, am I missing something? Because they all fell for it in line, all of them. And I was like, I don't understand. Am I literally fundamentally broken here? Because I understand what he's doing in the bluster of war, saying what he's saying, moving things around, making him seem unstable, keeping the enemy off balance. Isn't that like warfare 101? Like, don't you learn that when you sit down at your desk day one of how to win a war? Right? Like, and all of these people were like, and they blew up over it. He's wigged out because Trump was like, look, you're a zero, and I hope you lose your lawsuit or whatever. Like, oh, ouch. But yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, you're watching him. You're going to see the difference between people who are just Alex Jones fans and people who watched him. And there's two different things.
I've never really watched him. I just see clips like this.
Yes.
I've never sat down and watched Candace Owens. I've seen clips of hers, but man, they are doubling down, and it's pretty wild to watch. But I think it gets even a little bit worse because here comes the threat.
Because I know where to hit you.
Oh.
Leave me alone. I don't want to be at your Mar-a-Lago, your tuxedos, bunch of parrots posing. I'm not looking for government contracts. I've never asked for anything. Ed Martin contacted me and said, incredible evidence of the government attacking you. They had all the proof. The DOJ funding the lawsuits, rigging it all, and he's a great guy. And then Todd Blanche kills it and then calls me a kook and says I don't deserve to have my rights defended. And I'm in civil rights lawsuits. That's fine. I didn't blame Trump. I just said, okay, I'll take it. But I will not take any more of your crap. I have taken your betrayals, your narcissism, the open kleptocratic insider trading that is just wholesale in your administration. I've mentioned it, but said, yeah, it's just par for the course now. But I'm not looking for a fight, but if you want one, you came to the right place. Does Alex Jones bluff? No, I don't. You think I'm intimidated by you, Trump, the president of the United States?
Wow.
Think I'm intimidated by your hit teams, all the rest of it? Whatever, man. You got God to deal with. I want to focus on the midterms, the Democrats. I want to promote what's good you're doing. And I want to be left alone. But if you let Laura Loomer and that Israeli operative sit there and chew on me like I'm some chew toy, I'm done. If you think...
Well, you got to answer to God. We all do. But I mean, that's a curious thing to say. He must allege that Trump is a lot different than we think it is. Tell us. What? I want to know. I want to know. The ego, though, is so off-putting. I just, that's what all this is. It's like ego wars. It's not info wars. It's ego wars. It's like, who's got a bigger penis? And, there's mine. Mine's bigger than yours is. And you're like, wow.
Big Mike's is bigger than everybody. So
that's true. There's a little surprise in those dress slacks. It's more than just Alex. All right, R. Watkins, go. Let me hear what you say. I don't pay attention to Laura Loomer either. Like, I don't know. I think that there are elements of truth and crazy in all of these people, in all of these people. And I think when you're running and gunning to be a voice that's on top of everybody's news feed on social media, I don't know. I just kind of like looking at it.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there and move on. But yeah, I don't know. Alex Jones, he's out there. He definitely is. All right, let me click on this Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. Weekends with Wendy. I'm following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Alrighty then, let's jump back here. And all right, Debbie BS, thank you for your live chat. Wish somebody else would have chatted in there too. That would have been nice. Let me go ahead and copy that into a comment. Let me remind you folks that these videos that I share with you are videos that come directly from the producer that created them. Also, I have the links here in the description box. I also have the links to the channel of the producer if you want to go check more of their information out. And these videos that I've shared with you here are videos that I post on Murtec.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos. That's what I'm pushing out here, folks. No nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. Now, I'd like to share all of this information with you, but unfortunately I don't have the time to do so. In fact, I've just run over here sharing 4 of these videos with you. That's why I've put together my Murtec Daily News Wrap-Up. Now, I've got Wendy Bell in here, and I've got Andrew Klavan in here, and a lot of other stuff. It says I have 28 videos. I've got like 9 or 10 hours worth of information. I have a little 44-second video here from Kim's Coffee Talk that I want to share with you. She followed my channel. She has a channel of her own. I want to go ahead and share this with you. It's short and sweet. And then we're going to start off with Wendy Bell Radio, where we left off, and Andrew Klavan, where we left off, and all this other information here. But go ahead and take a break right now. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut, or a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer, or maybe a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and give me 15 or 20 minutes to get this set up in Rumble Studio. But in the meantime, I do want to thank you for joining me here. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless. But before I actually close it down here, I want to share some information from Rumble Premium. All right?
If you haven't already, make sure you download the Rumble app. It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected to the content you want.
Once you've got it, search for my channel and hit follow. That way, you'll get a notification every time we go live, no missed shows, no extra steps.
You can grab it right now using the link in the description or the pinned live chat. Download it to your phone, and you're ready to go.
And if you prefer watching on the big screen, Rumble is available on all major streaming devices and smart TVs. Just search for Rumble, follow the channel, and be part of the action.